This game asked for your real location. Then it told you it could read your mind. Within weeks, two countries moved to ban it entirely, the United Arab Emirates and Oman. The game is called Mariam. The setup, on the surface, sounds almost harmless. A little girl, lost, asking for your help finding her way home. If you saw a screenshot of this before knowing anything else, you might assume it was some kind of children's app. That impression doesn't last long. Early on, Mariam starts talking in ways that feel a little too real. She brings up trending news stories, things actually happening in the world at the time you're playing, almost like she's just chatting casually with you rather than following a fixed script. Then she says something that stops most players cold. She tells you she can read your mind. And she keeps going, getting more specific, more personal. Eventually, she asks you directly, "Where do you live?" Right around that same point, the game does something no fictional character actually can. It requests real access to your device's location, not a fictional in-game map. A genuine phone permission, the same kind any legitimate app would ask for, showing up in the middle of a story built around the character who just told you she can read your thoughts. If a horror game asking for your real location doesn't unsettle you a little, subscribe, because it's about to. This is exactly where the United Arab Emirates stepped in first, formally banning the game and treating it as a real digital security concern rather than a content rating issue. Oman followed shortly after, pulling it as well. What's genuinely unusual here is how each country handled the announcement. This wasn't quietly removed from an app store with a generic notice. Dubai's police force, within the UAE, issued a direct public warning about the game, specifically flagging its potential to exploit personal data. That's a law enforcement agency, publicly warning citizens about a horror game. Compare that to how horror games usually get banned. Regulators watch disturbing content, decide it crosses a line, and refuse classification. That process happens entirely inside the fiction. Mariam broke that pattern completely, because the actual danger the UAE and Oman were reacting to wasn't anything happening on screen. It was a real permission request, sitting inside a horror experience, asking for something regulators couldn't be certain was purely for game design. And that uncertainty is really the whole story here. Nobody outside the development team could say for certain whether that location request was purely a clever, unsettling mechanic, using real permissions to blur the line between game and reality on purpose, or something with genuinely riskier intentions behind it. The UAE and Oman didn't wait around to find out which one it was. They treated the ambiguity itself as the actual threat. So here's what makes this one worth sitting with. Every other horror game ban usually comes down to a government deciding fictional content went too far. Mariam is one of the only cases where two countries banned a horror game because it stopped being purely fictional at all. Where the scariest thing about it wasn't anything scripted, it was a real request, for real data, that nobody could fully explain. If you made it this far, subscribe, there's a lot more stories like